Redditors that worked with a dating company, Tinder, Bumble, etc. What's the most insane user stat or behind the scenes fact you found out about? A couple met on the dating app one worked on. Unfortunately, the man passed away and the lady returned to the app where they met for remembrance. One day, a bug in the system made some profile likes to be sent again after months, and she received one from her deceased boyfriend. Her bug report was heartbreaking. Poor lady. A dude with over 2,000 right swipes and no matches. Lots of gay guys get banned from Grindr selling weed. Would get a lot of emails of, "Why am I banned?" Go to their profile and will say, "HMU for that deciduous tree." This was years ago now, but I used to work with a guy who had been an engineer for Match.com. He said 99% of the profiles were inactive, and that 80% of the active profiles were men. He didn't provide numbers but also said there was a huge disparity between the average number of messages sent to women versus those sent to men. According to him, all told the site was mostly men reaching out to dead profiles and never getting responses. As I said, however, this was years ago, so it's entirely possible that they've cleaned the site up since then. Not sure about Match, but I know Tinder automatically removes you from the lineup, so to speak, if you've been inactive for more than 7 days. So pro tip, everyone, if you're so has a profile on Tinder, it's not an old one from before you started dating. I used to moderate OkCupid. The amount of unsolicited dick pictures men would send women, not even accompanied by any words, was horrifying. I mean, you'd expect it because online dating is a cesspit, but the sheer amount would still surprise you. I had to look at each reported picture and say, "Yes, that's a penis." 99% of the time, the dick pic doesn't work. I exchanged numbers with this bloke I met on holiday. Nothing had happened with him, and we lived on different continents. Anyway, on Christmas Day he sent me a message saying Merry Christmas. This is what America looks like at Christmas, and some pictures. 1. Him playing with the family dog in front of the Christmas tree. 2. Lights outside his parents' house. 3. His erect penis, poorly lit. 4. Him sledging with his toddler-age niece and nephew. 5. Snowman. I assumed he sent it accidentally because it was pretty off-brand for the rest of the set. So I asked him about it, and he was like, "Oh, I was just horny." And it's like, please don't be contextualizing your low production values nor pornography with wholesome Christmas cheer. I worked for Match for a couple years. This is probably widely known, but women frequently lie about their age and weight, and men lie about their height and salary. Also, it's a big problem that women are inundated with DMs while most men get none. I won 6 months of Match.com services for free because I attempted their challenge of messaging, politely, 10 women a week for 6 months, and got 0 responses. I also got 0 responses the second 6 months too. I used to work for shag.co.uk as a content creator, and by that I mean it was me who replied to messages from users. I used to get paid between 11p and 18p per message, with bonuses for hitting certain message amounts. It was mostly horny guys who just wanted to chat and get off, but I met some interesting people. One a 60s guy whose wife had died a few weeks prior, hadn't had sex in years, needed a release. Spoke at length of how he had picked me because I looked like his dead wife in her prime. To a guy who was in his 80s who was an ex-Norp star, sent multiple links to his videos and such. We spoke at length regarding his trips to Africa and all the charity work he'd done. 3. A lot of obvious pedophiles, rapists, etc. It was pretty scary what people would admit to with enough pushing. For a lot of guys who would agree to whatever weird fetish I dreamed up on that day. Horny people be horny. It all came to an end for me when a guy told me his dad had died that morning, and he wouldn't be around for a while. I got reviewed for my reply, which was, "I'm really sorry for your loss. If you need to talk, I'll be here for you." They suggested that I should have replied, "Do you not care about me? I have needs too." Just realized that the site owners really just didn't give a shit at all. Most dating sites and apps are owned by one company, the Match Group. They have a near monopoly. I think Bumble is one of the few not owned by them. Funny you should say that. Bumble is owned by a woman who was also a co-founder of Tinder. The rest of that founding team owns the Match Group. I used to work at Bumble, although this was about 4 to 5 years ago. Globally, about 90% of the users are men, so there is a huge male to female disparity, although it's not that bad on a per country basis, for some countries. The most depressing stat though was the histogram of word count in messages. Something like 91% of opening messages were just one word, hi, and 85% of conversations were just one exchange long, hi, dash no reply ever. Looking at human, digital mating habits splayed out in data science form was really depressing. One more thing, the countries which had better male-female ratios, which I can remember, were the Nordic ones. Sweden and Norway were close to 50-50, and for a time, one of them even had more women on the app than men. Not sure how it is now. If 90% of users on dating apps are men, where are single women looking for someone? In your area? We used to create fake accounts and chat with users. It was everything from someone having a premium account that wasn't getting responses to bored employees. Really? Interesting. Did you pull pictures from existing accounts or use your own? Not the OP, but in early and mid-2000s I worked for a hosting company that hosted servers for several adult personals websites. A bunch of people who worked there went through all the allegedly privacy-controlled content from the server side to harvest all the lewds women had uploaded regardless of privacy settings. I was pretty much the only person in the team who thought it was gross and weird because people didn't consent to share that shit with everyone. They thought they had privacy settings that controlled who could see it. Most of the people in the team who didn't participate in the practice objected because they didn't want to sift through dudes' dick pics to creep out on women. Really glad I got out of that fucking cesspool. My ex-BF worked for the Yahoo Italy dating site back in the early-ish 2000s. His job was to pretend to be a woman and message male customers just as their accounts were going to expire. This would encourage them to pay to renew their subscriptions. Once they renewed, he would ghost them. He only lasted for a few months due to how unethical it was. I have a friend who works for a dating company. Her entire job is to remove inappropriate images. Her job is to look at dick pics all day. 5 days a week. That's all. No stat. Just a weird fucking job. Not been working, but a friend wrote her master thesis about the different criteria in online dating and real life. Almost half, 43%, the female participants who were in a relationship told they'd never have swiped right on their current partner. Other interesting results were that over 60% of men they wrote with on apps and agreed to go on a date would have no chance if they asked in real life. I went speed dating IRL in 2012, only time I ever went, and I was super nervous. We got 5 minutes with every partner, and at the end of the night you have a card and you tick the box of the women you're interested in, and they tick the men on their own cards. The organizers email you the next day with anyone you matched with. I ticked 3 potentials, and the next day I got 1 match in my email. I met up with her again, and we went out on a couple of dates after that. On the second date she confessed, "I didn't tick you. My friend did. She was there with her best friend. The friend liked me and ticked me on her own card, then ticked me on this girl's card too because she thought it would be a good idea. That's how we matched. Anyway, it all worked out great. We got married in 2014, and now have 2 daughters. She never would have ticked me if her friend wasn't there. I'm not her type at all. But it goes to show that relationships are weird, and that statistic about wives wouldn't have swiped on their husbands makes total sense to me. I met my wife move-in weekend freshman year. The reason we started hanging out is because her friend knocked on my door. Guessed they were coming down to my room to ask me to hang out, and my wife chickened out, so her friend knocked. Coming up on 12 years now. I would love to know how openly cynical the algorithm really is. My feed on Hinge shows absolutely no one I am interested in. And suddenly, the roses feature pops up. I am interested in all the people in the roses section. But oh, it's £4 to buy 1 rose. Which is no guarantee of a match, much less a date. They want to keep you using the app and spending money for as long as possible, and their slogan designed to be deleted is such BS it's comical. And you can't turn to other apps because they're all owned by the same corporation. Okay, so I didn't work with a dating company per se, but I helped software engineers optimize their profiles. Men get very few matches, regardless of how good their profile is. Women get a lot of matches, but most of those matches are useless. Guys swipe right on 47% of profiles. Women only swipe right on 12%. Searching for serious or casual relationships for men versus women. 61% of men want something serious while 39% want something casual. 87% of women want something serious while only 13% want something casual. Source: I'm the founder of a dating app. Do you have a similar story? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.